Like everyone else in the world, I've been playing Skyrim off and on now for 10 years. The beauty of Skyrim is that there's so many different ways to play it. That's likely the reason why so many of us have been playing the same exact game for years. You can kill dragons, you can become a mighty sorcerer, an assassin, or even the leader of a thieves guild. Or you can just complete the main storyline. Don't know why you would do that, but you can. But we are not doing any of that in this video. Today, we're gonna find out if we can make 1 million coins as a regular citizen of Skyrim. This is Atriel. He's just a regular, normal, ordinary guy. And like everyone else, he's got a dream. He dreams of a nice and comfortable life for him and his family in the Cloud District.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often?
Shut up, Nazim. For Atriel, 1 million coins is enough to set him and his family up for life. Atriel is also an honest man, so on his way to becoming a millionaire, we won't be doing anything dishonest. So that means we won't use any glitches or exploits this run. There are many glitches in this game we can use to make money. Some of the most popular ones include the Fortify Restoration glitch and stealing from vendor chests under the map. Those will all be banned, as well as any other exploits. Of course, we're likely to encounter bugs or glitches because it's Skyrim, but the most important thing is that we never use bugs to our benefit. Atriel also comes from a deeply poor family. He's had a tragic and rough life. He has seen the terrible things millionaires do in Tamriel to achieve their wealth. Atriel wants to be nothing like them. He wants to be the first ethical millionaire in Skyrim. So we'll have to make 1 million coins without breaking any laws. For us, that means no stealing, no killing, and no looting. No stealing is pretty straightforward. If an item is highlighted in red, we can't grab it. Atriel is just an ordinary citizen, so he has no idea how to fight or use weapons. He definitely cannot hold his own in a combat situation. So that means we can't attack or kill anything this run, even in self-defense. And lastly, we can't loot. So we can't take any items from dead bodies, and just to keep things interesting, we can't loot chests inside of dungeons, including those big ones at the end. We're a regular guy after all and not some badass adventurer. The typical gameplay loop in Skyrim is go into a dungeon, kill everything, loot the dungeon, sell everything, and repeat. The reason we added the no loot rule is to stop us from going into that gameplay loop. Otherwise, this would be just a regular playthrough of Skyrim. But if you want to pick up any items around the world, as long as they're not highlighted in red, it's allowed. If you want to pick snowberries or if someone offers to give us items in their home, we'll take it. Lastly, all the Creation Club stuff is disabled. Just because I want to play without it. That locks us out of the farm Golden Hills Plantation. The farm can give you a lot of money early on for very little effort, and I personally feel like it would take a lot of the fun out of this run. I love the early game grinds. I really want to earn every single coin. So no farm. Just looking at the set of rules, we'll have to get a bit creative. Most early game money is made by selling loot or killing bandits, so the early stages will require some thought. We'll have to use our money wisely and create a system for how we're going to gain levels as well. We probably won't complete many quests this run either, since most of them involve combat. Lastly, the biggest hurdle we'll have is physically obtaining the 1 million coins. Our only source of coin will most likely be from merchants, but they have a limited amount of coins they have at one time. But let's see how this goes. When we make our character, we make the most normal looking guy, because that's what he is. We had a few options for our race. Imperial is the most obvious choice, but I wanted to roleplay as a Nord for this challenge run. The Nord race does get Battlecry. Battlecry allows you to scare nearby enemies into running away from us, which could be super useful if we're ever in a tight spot and need to flee from some enemies. If Atriel is such an honest man, why is he here getting ready to be executed? Well, you wouldn't believe what happened to him. His family was suffering from these awful nightmares. To try and resolve the issue, he sought audience with the Jarl of Dawnstar. He waited for weeks to meet with him, and when he finally was before the Jarl, he accidentally moved his cursor a little too far to the right, and instead of initiating dialogue with the Jarl, he accidentally stole the Jarl's sweet roll. So, here we are, ready to be executed. Luckily, a dragon attacks and we're able to escape, avoiding our unjust execution. Our first main hurdle is going to be getting through Helgen without killing anything. I'm like 90% sure it's possible, but it's been a while since I've been here. We might have to just let Hadvar/Ralof do the dirty work if we do have to fight something. We end up going with Ralof. He unties us and gives us our first objective. That objective immediately breaks our rules. Luckily, we don't actually have to loot the corpse. We just have to open its inventory and close it. Some Imperial guards pull up, so we hide in this dark corner and let Ralof handle them. Oh, no. He's got it. He's got it. You can do it. I believe in you.
Help! Help me! Help!
He ends up winning the fight and he loots the key off the Imperial Guard's corpse so we don't have to. I start to walk slowly through the dungeon so that Ralof can help take out the enemies, and then I realize I don't have to fight any of these guys. I sprint by every enemy in the dungeon until we make it out of Helgen. Nothing compares to that wonderful feeling of freedom you get fresh out of Helgen. Excited, we make our way to the nearest town, Riverwood. We hear about a love triangle in the village. We help resolve the issue and make 25 gold from it. We don't have a plan quite yet for how we'll make 1,000,000 coins, but we'll need to try different things out to see. First thing we do is find a woodcutter's axe on the ground and start chopping wood and sell it at the Riverwood trader. We have our first 200 coins, so we make our way up to Whiterun. The main reason for this is so we can have access to the carriage there. It'll let us go to any major cities in Skyrim, should we need to. We haven't progressed the main story at all, so we have to pass a persuasion check to enter Whiterun. We look at Whiterun's blacksmith shop to see if there's any way we can make a profit off of any raw materials. We run a bunch of different numbers, but don't find anything that works out too well. Here's an example of a decent option. We bought 2 iron ore for 6 coins each for a total of 12 coins spent. We turned the 2 ores into 1 ingot valued at 7 coins, so we made a loss. But we then make it into a dagger valued at 11 coins, which is still a loss. It's also not accounting for the decrease in value when selling. You see, the value you see on an item in Skyrim is typically the amount you will pay for an item if you're lucky. Right now we're paying more than the base value for items because of our speech level. When you sell the items, you typically only get like 25 to 40% of the item's value. My plan for getting into this run was to initially possibly find a way to merge items. Even though I knew it would practically be impossible, I still wanted to try and make it work. And what I mean by merging is just buying an item for less and selling it for more. On the surface, this is literally impossible because you almost always sell items for far less than you buy them for in Skyrim. But if I can process an item, I might be able to make a profit, whether it be through smithing, enchanting, or alchemy. It doesn't look like there's any profit for smithing at the moment to be made. Enchanting requires filled soul gems, which are extremely expensive to purchase and can only be obtained by killing someone and taking their soul. Definitely off limits for us. So that leaves us with alchemy. But before we move on to alchemy, I really want to give smithing a shot. There's tons of mines scattered around Skyrim. Most of them are inhabited by enemies and some are just filled with people. It will be far easier for us to avoid the dangerous mines. There is a safe and easy to access mine in Dawnstar. So we make our way there, pick up an axe off the ground and clear the mine of iron ore. We get like 20 pieces of iron ore. We make all that ore into armor and a sword, and after selling it all, we made a profit of 40 coins. We go into the nearby alchemy shop buying any ingredients that were less than 15 coins or so. Then we mix them and start discovering potion recipes. I debated just looking up the most profitable recipes, but I think it'd be more fun to discover them on my own. Right now, our most profitable way to make money is still to chop wood. The wood sells for about 3 coins, but if we turn the items into Hod, the owner of the lumber mill, he'll give us 5 coins. And he has an infinite supply of money, unlike the Riverwood trader. So we'll be turning in all our wood to him from now on. We chop wood day and night until we have our first 1,000 coins. It's time to invest in ourselves. We really need some levels so that we can start putting points into the speech skill tree for better prices. So we buy some spell tomes and try them out. Maybe we can gain some levels in magic and get a perk point. But we try out each spell and we are not making any progress in any of the skill trees. I was almost certain that Clairvoyant would raise our stats, or even Oak Flesh. My guess is that some of these spells need to be casted while in combat to get the XP for it. Whatevs, we just chop some more wood and continue to invest in ourselves. This time we get more alchemy ingredients to discover more recipes and gain some progress towards our next level. Someone in chat pointed out I didn't grab the Thief Stone. It'll give us a 20% experience boost to the green category of skills, which includes speech, the most important skill for us right now. We head to Solitude to continue experimenting with ingredients and make a ton of potions. We found a particularly profitable one, the Poison of Slow Potion. It's valued at nearly 200 coins, which is huge for us, because we've been chopping wood for 5 coins a piece for a few hours now. And after a few cycles of buying ingredients and selling the potions, we got our first 2 levels. This is gonna be... Oh! That was an accident. Oh no. Am I going to jail? I'm so sorry. You could have it. She took it back. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. The run is fine. She took it back. Yikes. The worst part of it all is that this was in Dawnstar too. Glad it didn't end in me being sent to the execution again. Anyways, we put both perk points into the speech tree, which give us a whopping 15% increase to item sell prices and a 15% decrease in item purchase prices. We also spec into stamina so we can get around easier and have more carry weight. I think we finally graduated from woodcutting. We have about 2,000 coins on our inventory now, and during all the hours of woodcutting, I had a lot of time to think about our next move. I figured out how we're going to make profit on iron ore. Nearly every blacksmith in Skyrim sells iron ore for super cheap at 6 coins a piece, but we can't take advantage of that yet. First, we'll need to get some armor. We browse Whiterun's blacksmith's wares and come across some gloves of alchemy. It's so expensive, a whopping 787 coins. That's a fucking third of our net worth. That's equal to like a whole hour of just chopping wood. Well, since shop inventories are random, we have no guarantee that we'll find this item again, especially since we can't loot enemies, which is how I normally get my enchanted items. We decide to just grab it. We're going to be doing alchemy in the future, and I'm sure it'll pay for itself. We look at the rest of their armor and compare the prices they're selling for the cost of the raw materials to see if we can make it ourselves for less money. Some items we purchased, like the leather helmet and boots, but we crafted our own iron armor and helmet since it was significantly cheaper. Next, we'll need to hire some help. We make our way to the bar and try to hire a mercenary. We go to Earthgird the Unbroken, because she looks pretty strong and has some steel-plated armor, but we don't have the option to hire her. They challenge us to a fight, and I'm guessing after the fight we can hire her. The problem is we can't fight her because it's against the rules. So we look around and come across Sinmir. This guy looks like an absolute noob, like he's just fresh out of Helgen. Fine, we'll take him. Whatever, right? Beggars can't be choosers. For some reason, we don't have the option to hire him either. I thought it might be because of the time of day, but it was fucking like 5 o'clock p.m. We go back to our initial pick and I come up with a bright idea. If we say yes to fighting her but don't hit her at all, and she wins the fight, will she still join us after? One way to find out. We hit the ground and a few minutes go by and I don't stand up. I thought I was soft locked, but I just needed to heal. I'm sure this was incredibly obvious to a lot of you, but I've never lost a fist fight, so I had no idea. We have no potions though, so we eat some wheat and we're able to get back up. We talk to her after and she still will not join us. That leaves us with the one option, Sven. This is so scuffed. Sven is a part of the love triangle I resolved earlier, and because I helped him, he's willing to be our companion. But they don't have any fighting prowess or even armor. All they can do is sing and play instruments. They're literally a fucking bard. I can't believe he's who we have to take.
This is the part where we escape.
This is the part where they kill us.
Who's they?
We take what we can get. We equip Sven with all the armor we purchased. For weaponry, he just has a little dagger, so we make him a sword too. Now it's time for us to make way on our expedition. Our destination is just north of Whiterun at the Halter Steam Camp. There's a special tome that'll teach us a very useful magic spell. This tome can't just be purchased anywhere. It can only be found in 2 locations in Skyrim. The other location has the tome inside a chest, in a dungeon, which we can't loot. But at the Halter Steam Camp, it's just sitting on a table, meaning it's within the rules for us to grab it. The problem is the camp is infested with bandits. That's where a mercenary comes in. Well, in this case, Sven. We hire him to protect us so we can make it to the tome and make it out safely. We make it to the camp, but lost Sven along the way.
Geralt? Geralt, where are you going? Geralt, don't leave me.
We sit around and wait until Sven finally decides to show up. We go into the camp to aggro the enemy and signal to Sven to protect us from the bandits. The bandits get a little close and I start to sprint backwards. It's so dark that I fell into a nearby pit full of spikes. I couldn't figure out how to get out, so we just let ourselves die. We die a couple more times because Sven is god fucking awful at combat. But we start using oak flesh to survive the bandits until Sven eventually takes some of them out. He goes down, so we go to Whiterun to await his recovery. We go back and he finishes off the bandits outside. We safely made it into the mine and we see some iron ore everywhere, and we sneakily and very quietly collect the iron ore around the mine. We make our way to the end and the tome is just within reach. Sven will just have to take care of the enemies. Turn around. Sven, please stop looking at me and look at them. Oh, God. If only I could have hired an actual mercenary. Attack them! What are you doing? Sven is so dead. Sven is dead already. Oh, gosh. We make it to safety, and when Sven recovers, we go in again. Sven doesn't stand a chance against these guys. So we cast oak flesh while he grabs their attention and goes straight for the tome. But on the way out, we die to the bandits. Let's do this one last time, yeah? We go back in and bait the bandits up the stairs while casting Elk Flesh, and then sprint for the tome. We were able to juke the bandits and make it out safely with our new spell, Transmute. We spent a good chunk of our time and net worth gearing up spend just to get this one spell. Transmute is a spell that allows us to turn iron to silver and then into gold. This is how we can now massively profit off of the iron ore that blacksmiths sell around Skyrim. It costs no money to turn iron ore into gold ore. It just uses magicka. So we can 10x our profits with just 2 casts of Transmute. Gold ore is worth around 50 coins, which is nearly 10 times the value of iron ore. We can take that gold ore and just sell it back, or we can make more profit by turning it into ingots and making jewelry. Ingots are worth exactly the same as ore, but one ingot can be made into a necklace worth 120 coins, or it can be made into 2 rings valued at 75 coins each for a total of 150 coins. So rings are always more valuable. We purchased 2 iron ore at the cost of 12 coins, and we make that into 150 coins, which is insanely good money for someone who can't loot dungeons. You can also add gems to rings to make them more profitable, but this is only the case if you find gems. Buying gems and making them into jewelry is almost always going to end in a loss. Also, forgot to mention on the way to Halted Sleep Cap, I got the life sucked out of me by a vampire and contracted vampirism. We really do not want to be a vampire because we cannot satisfy our bloodthirst. Luckily, it's still in the early stages, so we just make our way to a shrine of Talos to be cured of it. We then sit here and make all our iron ore into gold ore and then into rings. The ring's actual sell price is so much less than the face value. We end up selling each ring for 29 coins each as opposed to the face value of 75. But this is still amazing money for us. We really need to find a way to make the prices better. The main ways of doing that is leveling speech, which we're already doing, and through enchantments. That's going to be really expensive for us though. We'll figure something out later. Before leaving the court wizards, we buy the muffle spell. This is an amazing way to level up illusion. It also makes your footsteps completely silent, so we may be able to use it in the future. We can't use it yet because we don't have enough magicka, so we're going to stop putting our points into stamina and put it into magicka instead. We don't need illusion levels, but leveling up illusion can give us perk points to put into our speech tree. With the transmute spell and a decent cash stack, we make our way to every single alchemy shop in Skyrim and also hit up the blacksmiths for all their iron ore. We do this in a counterclockwise motion, starting at the bottom of the map, making our way around the edge until we make it back to our starting point. I didn't notice this until doing this run, but when you fast travel, time skips ahead a few hours depending on the distance. So if we go to Riverwood and buy out the blacksmith shop there at 1 p.m. and then decide to go to Markarth, which is very far away, it'll be like 1 a.m. when we get there, and we need to sit and wait for 10 hours before the stores open. So instead, from Riverwood, we go to Whiterun and then to the nearest city from there. This is so we don't have to wait around as much. We still definitely need to, but much less. We're taking the same consistent route so we can remember what shops we've been to. And by the time we complete a cycle, the initial shop we started at is restocked. This is because of all the time that passes when you fast travel. Most vendors restock every 48 hours. Alternatively, you can wait around for 48 hours at one vendor to restock, but I noticed if you do that, their inventory seems to get smaller with each restock, so you can't buy as many items. This might just be in my head though. I also just really preferred the idea of traveling across all of Skyrim as opposed to sitting in one shop for hours. So what are we actually buying out? At the blacksmiths, we are only buying iron ore. At the alchemy shops, we get any ingredients worth less than 50 coins. At first, we didn't make much money from alchemy. We were mostly breaking even because we were experimenting a lot with the ingredients. But that's okay though, because every hour we had to wait, we cast a transmute to upgrade our iron ore into gold. We were being super efficient with our time. We were even casting transmute on our walks in between stores. Even though we weren't making much money, we were leveling speech and alchemy. And with every level of alchemy, our potions became more valuable, and with every level of speech, we sold items for more and more and bought items for less and less. Eventually, we discovered our most profitable potions, Poison of Slow and Damage Magicka Regen. It started to be worth over 400 coins with our alchemy level and perks. Poison of Slow is my favorite because the ingredients were so damn cheap and available. Death Bells and Salt Piles, which are each under 10 coins, are sold in big amounts. So we stopped experimenting with all our ingredients. The first thing we would do was create any potion worth over 100 coins, and with whatever ingredients we had left after that, we experimented with to discover new recipes. Doing this efficiently along with selling rings, we eventually see our first stack of 10,000 coins. Yeah! Now that we have such a nice milestone, it's time for a stat check. We got our speech to 38 and have 30% better prices, along with a skill that gives us better prices with the opposite sex. I thought this was initially useless unless you're women like in Fallout, But it turns out every alchemy shop in the game is run by an old woman, so we'll be raising up these grannies for better prices. We've gotten pretty much everything in the alchemy tree. All of the perks increase potions effectiveness and increase our profit. We also made it to level 46 alchemy. Nice. For our general stats, we've cleared 0 dungeons, as it should be, and we've touched a total of 25,000 gold. A lot of it was reinvested into our skills and other stuff. And for crime, you can see an absolutely clean record of 0. Okay, it says we've killed 5 people, which I absolutely have not. Maybe kind of the people that got killed by Sven? Okay, I went back and looked at the footage, and Sven killed exactly 5 people. So if you didn't know companions count towards your kill count in the stats, now you do. We picked the lock inside of Halted Steam Cap, so that's on there as well. But I don't think that should count as a crime, but whatever. And then we have 1 stolen item from that unfortunate event in Dawnstar. The second one, not the sweet roll. That's not on here. That happened before the game started. Since we had such a beautiful milestone, I think it's time to change our look. These rags we're wearing don't really represent the progress we've made. So we go to a clothing shop and have a new outfit, symbolizing our mild success. The clothing wasn't very expensive, but we spent a little more than we planned to. They were selling an enchanted tiara of alchemy, so we coughed up about 1,500 for it. Our newfound wealth has gotten us noticed and has opened some doors for us. We got a letter from the Jarl of Falkreath informing us that there's some land he's willing to sell to us to build our own home. But once we arrive, he tells us we have to jump through a few hoops. Why did you tell me to come here to just tell me that I have to do other stuff? What was the point of the letter? Well, mainly we just need to help the town with a bandit problem they're having. So we tell Sven to get ready for battle. We can't really do anything about it, but Sven can. I really hope he's been training because his performance last time was embarrassing. We head to the mine and Sven just handles business this time. He does a great job of protecting us and he rids Falkreath of their bandit problem. We go back to the Jarl and now we actually have the ability to own land. His steward charges us 5,000 coins for it and we pay it. We get to our piece of land and learn about the home building system and the Hearthfire DLC. We're able to make our own home and select what kind of rooms it has. There are many options ranging from a storage room all the way up to a library. But what caught my eye the most was the greenhouse. This will allow us to start planning our own alchemy ingredients. This will be huge for us. We won't need to spend money on ingredients because we'll produce them ourselves. But before we can make the greenhouse, we need to make a small home and a main hall. For that, we'll need building materials. We're able to mine stone and clay completely free of charge in exchange for our time and patience. Lord knows we have that.
Day is never finished. Master got me working.
But we need to purchase lumber and make things like nails and iron fittings. We're pretty low on money now, so we take a few more trips around Skyrim, buying all ingredients we can and then selling the potions we make. After a little while, we have enough and end up building our main hall and greenhouse. It's pretty empty right now since we're broke, but I make the planters since they're the #1 priority for money. I really don't know what to plant yet. We have discovered some really profitable potions at this point. My 2 favorite ones are the Poison of Slow and Potion of Fortify Health. The Poison of Slow consists of death bells and salt piles, which are super easy to come by. The problem is you can't plant salt piles, so we can't really scale the amount of potions we make. We'll be limited to the amount of salt piles we can manage to find in stores. I did find some other ingredients for the Poison of Slow, but the ingredients are River Betty and Large Antlers, neither of which can be planted, so we have the same issue. The Potion of Fortify Health has multiple ingredients we can plant, Creep Cluster and Wheat, but for some reason this potion is only valuable if it includes a giant's toe, which are rare and can't be planted either, so we can't scale that either. You can make the potions with Creep Cluster and Wheat, but for a fraction of the value. We'll need to find something. For now, we just plant all the ingredients we have on us. We do make a lot of wheat, so if we ever find a giant's toe, we'll always have the wheat to combine it with. We start experimenting with ingredients again. We searched for a long time for a new profitable potion. Along the way, we make a lot of money, so we were able to build an alchemy room in our home, and Sven asked to be our home steward. If we agree, he won't be able to go into combat again and take care of enemies anymore. But I think Sven has done enough. He deserves to live the rest of his life out in peace. After a while of discovering ingredient effects, we find what we're searching for. The potion that's gonna make us rich, the paralysis potion. We discovered multiple ingredients for the paralysis potion, which can all be planted. And it is more profitable than the slow potion, valued at 723 coins. And we can actually scale it. We need Impstool and Canistry or Swamp Fungal Pod. We unfortunately only have Impstool, which we plant. We use the other 2 ingredients to discover their effects. We spend quite a bit of time looking for either ingredient until we finally find a single Canistry. Finally! So we plant the Candace fruit and we wait 3 days. After the 3 days, we harvest our ingredients and replant them until we have a full garden and greenhouse. We keep tending to our garden and stack up ingredients. We make our way back. Oh shit, there's a giant camping the entrance to my home. It should be fine. Giants are not hostile if you don't provoke them. So we become best friends, and he lets me back into my home. Good thing too, cause Sven is just a steward now. He can't protect me. Not that I think he'd be able to hold his own against the giant anyways. Now that we have enough ingredients, we can start making the potions. We did make an alchemy room, but it's not furnished yet. So we'll have Sven take care of furnishing the house while we go out on our voyage. We'll head to Riverwood to use the alchemy table there. Hey Sven, I have a job for you. I really need... Giants are not hostile if you don't provoke them. So we become best friends. Somehow, some way, we managed to get softlock. Unbelievable. Your Skyrim does keep your last 3 autosaves. The problem is the last autosave right now is where I'm getting slapped. The one before that is me going inside, which doesn't help because I still have to go back outside. And the one before that is the giant spawning near our home. I got really lucky because my home actually has 2 exits now. The second exit comes from the alchemy room. If I didn't build that, I would have been royally screwed. Anyways, we make as many paralysis potions as we can carry. We get a ton of levels in alchemy and make our way to start selling the paralysis potions. Our speech level is really low and I would love to level it up as fast as possible. Speech experience is directly linked to the value of the items you sell or buy. So the more expensive the item is, the more XP you get. The problem is, Skyrim is a bit janky in the way it calculates this. It only counts each individual interaction. For example, if I have 56 potions valued at 15,000 coins, if I sell them all at once, I will only get the speech experience for 1 item. So the game will give us experience equal to 1 potion valued at 700 points, as opposed to the 15k we should be getting. So to maximize XP, you need to sell items one by one, which is really annoying. There also doesn't have to be an actual exchange of money. You can give a shop an item even if they have no coins, and you'll get the full speech experience for it. You lose out on a lot of money. Why would you do this in the first place? It's because it's way easier to give items to one shop than to travel to every shop. You can power level speech this way. We don't do this very long since we do need to make money after all, but we do it until we reach 50 speech, a really important level. This is where we unlock the merchant skill. This allows us to sell any item to any merchant. Up until now, we could only sell potions to potion shops and general merchants. This means we were limited to selling to 2 shops per city. Now we can sell to 3 to 6 shops depending on the city, which is insanely good. We spend most of our time fast traveling and waiting for shops to open. This will increase our profits dramatically and decrease the amount of time we spend doing that. We also changed and min-maxed our trade route. First off, we stopped buying iron ore and transmuting it. It's such a small part of our profit now, and it's completely not worth it anymore. We also don't hit up every city anymore. We did initially, but now we have the merchant skill. We are only hitting up cities that have multiple shops in close proximity to one another. So Riverwood, Whiterun, Riften, Windhelm, and Solitude. Places like Dawnstar and Markarth aren't worth it because we spend so much time running between shops. Our route is purely optimized for profit. At Riverwood, we sell to the smith and general store that are right next to each other. In Whiterun, we sell to the blacksmith, potion shop, and general trader. We started off selling to the court wizard as well, but it is such a long walk that it cuts into our hourly profit. Next is Riften, the most profitable city. The smith, general trader, and potion shop are all super close to each other, and there are also 2 shop stalls with a decent cash stack. Most stalls, like the ones in Whiterun, only have 50 coins. These have 750. So we usually leave Riften with around 7,000 coins each visit. In Windhelm, we go to the smith, potion shop, and 2 stalls that also have 750 coins. We avoid the general shop that's across the city and the court wizard that's far as hell. Lastly, Solitude has a clothing shop, a smith, a general trader, and a potion shop, all within 10 feet of each other. After Solitude, we go home, tend to our crops, and make more potions. The route takes more than 3 days, so the crops are always ready for us to harvest. This strategy feels literally perfect. Early on, we experimented with waiting multiple days in our home and just stocking up on hundreds of potions, then going on the route. But waiting in this game is so slow. Waiting 3 days actually took a few real life minutes. Fun fact though, there's a way to make waiting instant, but it only works on PC. You select the hours you'd like to make, then drag the slider with your mouse all the way to the left while holding enter. I experimented with this a little, but I couldn't get the timing right consistently. Anyways, we grind our optimized route and eventually hit 100 alchemy. With all the perks and levels, our paralysis potions are now worth 1,012 coins. We're clearing out stores' inventories by just selling them 1 or 2 potions. Now that we have max alchemy, I think it's time to try to go for 100 speech. I initially was just gonna let speech level up as we did our trade runs, but I think it might be more efficient to get the speech levels first. In the speech tree, there are 2 perks that'll make us more money and save us a lot of time in the long run. The first lets us invest 500 coins into specific shops, increasing the amount of gold in their shops by 500 coins permanently. Most of these shops are already on our trade route as well, so we made a small adjustment to our route. When we hit the last shop in Solitude, before going back to our home for potions, we go to the Bard's College. There is a master level speech trainer that we can use to level speech very fast. It'll just cost a lot of money. We end up making 30,000 gold per full route and end up spending almost every dime of that on the speech training. We did end up unlocking the investor perk this way and invested in every shop that's on our trade route. We repeat the cycle, spending tens of thousands of coins to level up speech until we hit 90. We go to the Bard's College and our trainer is not there. We search up and down and spend a long time waiting and looking for him, just to fucking find out that the master trainers can't level you past 90. You have to earn the last 10 levels on your own. So we make as many potions as we can and start giving them away. There's no better place to do this than in Riverwood, since that's where this all started. He carried us through the beginning of this run by buying hundreds of our useless firewood. So we give him over 200,000 coins worth of paralysis potions. He has enough paralysis potions to commit the biggest war crime in the history of Tamriel. And eventually we hit 100 speech. Before we start the next grind, let's take a moment to appreciate how far we've come. We started with absolutely nothing but rags and crawled our way up to where we are now. We have great skill levels, a beautiful home, and a pet giant. We're such good friends. 100 speech is crucial for this last grind. Without it, I think I would lose my sanity. At 100 speech, we get the perk Master Trader, which increases the amount of gold every merchant in Skyrim has by 1,000 coins. 1,000 coins. Though I found it not to be completely true. I've noticed some locations don't have increased inventory. It's mainly just inns that have the exact same coin. Blackbriar Meadery and Madesi Stall in Riften have the same amount of coins as well. Madesi makes sense since in most people's playthrough, Madesi is sent to prison during the beginning of the Thieves Guild questline. But we didn't do that obviously, so we've had him in our game for the whole run. The perk says everyone, it might just be bugged on my playthrough. You never really know with Skyrim though. The Master Trader perk affects every other shop though, including the stalls that usually have around 50 coins, which now have 1,050 coins. Our trade route already has a ton of these stalls near the shops we hit up. We'll make much more money on our runs. I believe we have almost everything we need to get started on the climb to 1 million. Though I want to squeeze just a little more value out of our trade runs since we'll be doing a lot of them. In Skyrim, Zenithar is the god of trade and commerce. If you pray to him at a shrine, he'll give you a blessing that gives you 10% better prices at merchants. So we go to the shrine near Riften. It was a bit sketch, especially since we didn't have the protection from our bodyguard Sven, and there was this big ass bear around, but we got the blessing and grabbed an amulet of Zenithar. This is a necklace that gives us a 10% speech buff as well. But we currently have a necklace that gives us a 15% buff. We can still use the amulet though. We can use it to make a shrine in our own home. So we go to the cellar and make one. So now every time we come home to harvest our crops, we can apply the buff. We honestly should have done this a lot sooner. Could have saved us a lot more time. We also debated getting the 2 other properties from the Hearthfire DLC, but they honestly wouldn't make this process go any faster. We're mainly limited by merchants' gold. Usually after a full trade run, we still have a ton of paralysis potions left over, and our crops are always ready after we finish a run. So the amount of potions isn't the problem, it's the merchants. But we've done everything we can to increase their gold. It's time for our first trade run with the Master Trader perk, and it's so nice. We make 45,000 gold on our route, but I feel like I can do a little better. We make a few adjustments, and now each run we make 50,000 gold instead. The biggest change I made was in right run. I realized the blacksmith shop inside and outside have different inventories. That would have been so nice to know earlier, but it helps us make a little more money now. At the rate of 50,000 gold per run, we would need about 18 more trade runs around Tamriel. We can add some cities back to the run, but I just can't be bothered to do that right now. So we stick to the run we've been doing and get to about 200,000. I realize I can't do 16 more of these runs. I'm going to lose my mind. The run isn't terrible per se. The main problem is how much attention I have to pay. I have to navigate the map, remember the right routes, and time my fast travel correctly so that I don't have to wait for stores to open. Even though I do still need to end up waiting for shops sometimes, and The worst of it all is the amount of loading screens I'm sitting through because of all the fast travel. I need a much lazier way to do this. I know myself, if I don't find an easier way, I'm likely to quit before I hit 1 million coins. So I stop for now and sit and think on it. I read online that the Riverwood trader has over 10,000 coins after investing in him. But for some reason that was not the case for my save. It might have been patched out, or it may require us to get the claw back for them. Otherwise, I would have just stayed at the store, sold as much as we could, and then waited 48 hours to repeat. We came up with something else the next day. We decided to just hit every shop in Whiterun. Whiterun seems to have the most money for us out of any city, and it'll be very mindless. They have 3 blacksmiths. Blacksmiths have the biggest coin pool by far. So our runs look like this. We start at home, make as many paralysis potions as we can. Then we wait 3 days, harvest the ingredients, and make more potions. We do this until we either hit max carry weight or get completely tired. But we usually stop when we get tired of mashing square. Then we go to Whiterun. We hit up the first 2 blacksmiths at the entrance. Then everyone in the market. Then we go up to the companion's blacksmith and finally to the court wizard. We wait 48 hours and then do the run in reverse. We wait another 48 hours and do the run again. We rinse and repeat this, but eventually we cut out the court wizard because every single time we go to the court wizard, the Jarl's fucking bodyguard chases us around to initiate dialogue, and it just got super annoying after 10 runs or so. What are you doing here? Get out of here. The route at first glance doesn't seem much easier than my previous route, but it requires literally no thought whatsoever. I don't have to look at where my next fast travel is or how many hours I have to wait. It's always 48 hours. Since I don't have to think at all, I can do other stuff like watch anime or play RuneScape. This made the journey much more enjoyable. Going from the entrance to the court wizard and then back to the entrance made us a total of 30,000 coins. And it took significantly less time than our old route and was a lot more chill. I spent a lot less time looking at loading screens, since we never had to load in a whole city, just small rooms. I really can't just show you the whole run. Even if I fast forwarded at 10x speed, it would still take like an hour. Instead, I'll show you my big milestones. So here's where we hit 200,000 coins. Here's 300,000 coins. Here's 500,000 coins. And finally, we're halfway there. Thank God I'm using a controller. I'd probably have fucking carpal tunnel right now. Then we finally hit 750,000 coins. And for the last coin to get us to that 1 million mark, I decided to go back where it all started, where we sold our first piece of wood. I miscalculated and we were just barely short on 1 million. That's embarrassing. I've been running numbers this whole run and I completely whiffed this. I'll just go hide in that corner for now. Nobody look at me. We wait the 40 hours and sell him one last potion to finally break that 1 million mark. Let's go! We're gonna grab some wine to celebrate. Look, we did it! Yeah! Just imagine wine coming out of the top of this thing. We fucking did it. This whole run took about 40 hours to complete. And just to give you a perspective of how bad that final grind was, I hit 100 speech and 100 alchemy at 15 hours. The rest of the run was just making trade runs. If you're curious about how many potions I've made, I made 320 regular potions and 2,194 poisons, the majority of which are paralysis potions. I had created 873 poisons when I hit 100 alchemy, so that means I made 1,321 paralysis potions on the way to 1 mil. The sky and the moon is so beautiful tonight, isn't it? I think I've learned a small lesson after completing this run. Sometimes the fastest and most efficient way to your goal isn't always the best way. It doesn't matter how fast the route is if you hate every single second of it and never get it done. Take it slow and enjoy the journey. And someday, you'll make that dream of yours a reality. If you've made it this far, thank you. We play RPG, indie, and strategy games on this channel. If you're into that, consider subscribing. And I hope to see you next time. Bye! Oh, no. He's got it. He's got it. You can do it. I believe in you. This is gonna be... Oh!